Hey, kia ora team, JT here, and welcome to the last module. And what we're doing here is touching back on our goggles, and these are the goggles created by that self-betrayal concept and process. So let me quickly take you back to it. You know, we're lying in bed and kids start crying, and I have this thought of should I get up or shouldn't I? And I either honor it or I don't. And at this stage, when I don't honour that initial feeling, then I start to build up justifications on why I don't need to go and do this. So I'm hard working, you know, I worked long hours. It's fair because my darling was at home and I was at work. I'm now a victim because I've got a busy day tomorrow, etc., etc. And I start to really blow up my justification of why I shouldn't do the decision. And then I start to really collect all this evidence against her. You know, she's a lazy person, she's selfish, unappreciative. And when I walk into the shower, I see the evidence of clothes on the floor. When I walk into the kitchen, I see the evidence of dishes all on the bench, okay, etc. And nothing could be further from this truth. She is the most diligent, caring person you could ever meet. Okay, and this is how crazy this concept is. So we want to touch on the part of our brain that causes us to collect this evidence is called the reticular activating system, RAS. And it's like when you go and you might be looking for a new car, and you finally find a car you like, and then all of a sudden you see all the same cars on the street. I know that my first car was a mate's grandfather's car when he passed away. He couldn't drive, so I got to drive it, similar to this brown beast right here. And I used to think, this is awesome, this is so unique, there's no other cars like it on the road. And then what do you know? Start driving it around, and then you see one. Then the next day you see another one, and all the cars start popping up. So the role of the reticular activating system is to filter the information and all the messages that your senses are receiving, right? Because you can't grab all of those bits of information. There's just too much information that your eyes, that your smell, that your hearing is picking up. And so this reticular activating system is your filter, and it'll only collect and hold, or it'll only notice the information you want it to. And so because I was looking, or was really conscious about having this brown car, all of a sudden the RAS had logged that, and it was able to notice all the other cars. Okay, have you ever noticed you've maybe driven to work and you've done that drive so many times, and then someone said, oh, have you noticed such and such, or the sign, or the tree, or the house along the way? And you go, no idea. Sure enough, you drive back and you notice that particular object. And so we go through life noticing the information that we want to notice. And so when we make that decision and we self-betray, the RAS collects evidence to support what we want it to, okay? And so if we collect evidence over time, so let's just take this event happened, reality happened, my darling didn't get up, I didn't get up, the baby was crying. In my mind, I then started to collect evidence. It's a little cartoon saying she's lazy. I see the proof, all right? And then the day goes on, and there's more evidence that happens. And this just keeps looping, okay? More and more to support, I've got a lazy wife. Same thing with my justifications, okay? The event happened, and in my mind, I'm this hard-working husband. I'm not fat. You know, as a father and a husband and a hard worker, it's the weight of all this responsibility is what that cartoon talks about. All right, so in our minds, we're saying we're this hard-working person. give us a break. All right, and we just collect proof to embed this story. Okay, and so imagine that movie repeated daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. We actually end up in our own movie. Okay, and we call this the hero's movie. There's different types of movies out there, as you know, drama, thriller. Do you know any of your mates who's always living in drama? Everything's always a drama. There's a victim. You know, have you ever heard your friends, maybe it's yourself, always talking about, oh, poor me? Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. And so 2 movies that were very strong for me was the hero's movie or the hard worker movie. So take you back when I met my darling for the first time, I basically knew she was the one, this beautiful, strong Māori girl, and I knew that's the one I was going to marry. And so I rock up to her at university and basically promise everything she ever wanted, I will get it for her. And all she ever wanted was a house. Okay, way back in 2005, we'd been together for a while. But the story in my head is I was this massive Rambo. I was the hero coming to save her from her situation. All right, I had had success at school, first 15 captain, school leadership roles, gone overseas. I was this aspiring Māori rugby player, fit, handsome. I was on my journey in the academy. I was the academy captain. And so I had all this success. And in my head, I was the hero coming to save her from her situation. If she wanted to go to Scotland, I was the one that got the job that got us to Scotland. I was the hero. She wanted to come back home to New Zealand. I was the one who got us the job at New Zealand Rugby. Paid for our moving back. All of these things. It was a cool job. I was the hero. So I had collected proof over 14 years that I was Rambo and that I was the one who was going to decide how we were going to get the house. You know, when Rambo goes in to rescue someone, he doesn't then ask them, right, which way out? Where do we go? He's got a plan, all right? And he's just like, follow me. And that was my take on things. And so to get the house, so from 2005, she wanted a house, but I said, no, look, we're going to go, no, getting debt is not the way to go. We're going to get a business, get us cash flow. We can buy a house. So my first port of call was network marketing, and we chucked this money and time and effort into network marketing. And we didn't get the, we didn't get the rewards that we were after. And so on to the next thought. After that, my darling was like, how about we just buy a house? It's like, no, we need a business. And so we chartered to chuck into a group of mates and to go, we all went like 1/6 in a house. It's like, yeah, we just invest a little bit and in 5-10 years time, we double our money, we get more deposit, etc. No, how about we just buy our own house? No, let's do this. We're doing this, in my Rambo voice. Anyway, 10 years later, didn't double its money. We still owe money on this. And all my darling wanted was her own house. Then I was like, right, it's not about the money at New Zealand Rugby. Let's go home and we can kind of buy our own little section and we'll be really happy. Well, that wasn't the case either. And this is when I had this realization of the movie I was operating in, a bit of a midlife crisis, and had to really go searching for how the hell did this happen? And anyway, discovered I had been running this movie, living in this movie. I was Rambo and I knew what we were doing. I was the man who was successful and she was the one I was saving. And I just didn't listen to any of her, and her input, feedback, just didn't consider it. Yet she is the smartest. She's the most hardworking. She researches everything to the 10th degree. And she's pretty amazing. She studied while we had baby and got top of the class at Victoria Uni, got an award at her police college, did teaching, pretty much picks up anything that she wants to do and becomes an expert at it. And if I had only just considered that if I wasn't living in that Rambo movie and I had just considered her input, and we had bought a house, the most simplest house back in 2005 in Auckland where we were living. 10 years later when we finally bought our own house in Palmerston North, 2015, that house in Auckland would have been worth almost $700,000. We would have made almost 600, so we would have made like 500,000. And so that's the consequence of living in your own movie. And it also worked in this case. The other movie I lived in was the victim movie. And I always wanted other people to feel sorry for myself. And it started back, sorry for me, sorry. And I always felt sorry for myself. Oh, poor JT. And I wanted others to look at JT and go, oh, poor JT. And so when I look back at key events in my life where I think about this, it probably started back at primary school. We had to stand up and introduce our names. And as I was going around the room, I was getting more nervous and my heart was beating faster and faster and faster because I knew people couldn't say my surname properly. And when I stood up, I said, hi, I'm Jared Carrington, which is my mum's maiden name. And as soon as I said that, it was like this dagger had gone into my heart and that I had let my family down because I couldn't say my surname in front of everyone, and I let myself down. And I remember feeling this sense of, being stabbed and almost mentally lying on the ground going, dead. And so when I look back at other events in my life that are there, right there in my head, if you were to say, right, what events shaped you? This is one. And, I remember being pretty down about this. I had to have a jaw operation. My brother and I both had braces, but I was the only one that had to have a jaw operation, cut it in half and then shift it back. I ended up having an asthma attack. This swelled up, and that was my 7th form year. I had to go to the ball with a pretty big chin. And I remember thinking, man, why me? And I remember hating my brother for not, he didn't have to have it. When I got a career-ending injury in rugby, poor me. When I thrashed out a lot of money and time and effort in network marketing and was told, actually, if you did it right, you would have made a bit of money by all the calls and all the things I made. Like, poor me. When I went to Scotland, even though I got the job, I didn't really want to go, and I sat there a little bit sad because I didn't want to leave New Zealand at the time. It's poor me. It felt like life was just sending me these events to, make it tough for me. And we lost this money and we're still paying money. It's like, poor me. Then when my darling took off to police college for 6 months, I was like, yeah, go do it. But I was like, man, that's tough. That's a tough job. I was like, poor me on my own for 6 months. Poor me having to drive down there in my head. Then at New Zealand Rugby, had this amazing, comfortable job, great package, great bells and whistles, able to work from home. If you ever wanted to be in rugby, this is the place to work. And in my head, I started, listening to the movie because I was away for a bit. Poor me, because I missed time with my kids. And I played this movie so strong in my head, obviously not knowing it was the movie at the time, but I couldn't see things clearly because when I left New Zealand Rugby, I left, a 6-figure salary, a truck, an expense card, gears, computers, bonuses. When I decided to go home to a Portuguese, I went to a salary that was a third of the salary, no car. So financially, I put a lot of stress on our family. And I thought I was under stress at the time at New Zealand Rugby, but then going back to Portuguese, I realised, holy heck, actually, that's bloody cold. Why the hell did we leave? So when we got back to a Portuguese, I was sitting there going, oh, poor me. All right, and so the RAS was tuned in to pick up, to notice the victim side of the story. And it's a cycle. These movies, as you can see, look, it's just a cycle that goes round and round and round. And so the event happened. How I saw things was I was the victim, and so I collected that evidence. But what I missed in all of these, running this movie, on all of these events, was the opportunities. What I missed was looking at the side of growth that I could take. What I missed was the new path that it was setting me on, each of these events. And so what's your movie? Okay, and your task in this module is to be like an author of a movie. You write your life journey as a movie. So what are the highs and the lows? What were you thinking and feeling? Let us get an insight into your life at that stage. What are the key events? Now, don't write everything, obviously, but there'll be key events in your life already now popping up that have shaped your life. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? How did you respond? And is there a cycle? Is there a theme to your life's journey? Now, when you've done that, the exciting thing is we can change our stories. Okay, and like we talked about earlier, the stories or our beliefs lead us to our responses or our actions. And so I was listening to Tony Robbins one morning on the YouTube while I was stretching, and he talked about the RAS, and I'd read this in a book my grandfather had gave me, and I was like, oh, okay, I hear what he's saying. And so he talked about tuning your channel or your RAS into the right channel so you receive the information you're looking for. And so if you're tuned into, the movie channel and you're watching thrillers, then you're going to see thrillers. If you tune your RAS into drama, you're going to get drama every day. If you tune your RAS into opportunities and growth, then it's going to look for opportunity and growth. And so you can't change the reality or the events that happen each day. You walk outside and you stub your toe. If it's tuned in to being a victim, you will moan. When you drive down the road and someone cuts you off or pulls in front of you, you tuned into being a victim, then you're saying they cut you off. If you're tuned into being opportunist or problem solver, like for me, that's what it's about. It's about spotting opportunities in everything. It's about being the best problem solver I can be. Then I'm going to say, damn, I stubbed my toe, or I've ripped my pants, or whatever. I'm going to see it as a chance. Right, I can be a problem solver. And so the first thing you need to do to be able to tune your RAS into the right channel that you want is you got to make everything neutral. Okay, so imagine being in a world where you kind of don't have any hate or love or hate. You're neutral. And so being grateful, and you always hear this, you always hear like, where's your gratitude diary? And I was like, what the fuck? And I'd sit there going, I'm grateful for this, but I wouldn't feel it, man. And for some reason, it wasn't until I heard Tony Robbins talk about tuning your TV in that I just started to take things as they were. And so, on the tough days, I used to just look at my body, and when I'm stretching, I go, I'm thankful for having my feet. I'm thankful for being in a house with a roof. And by generally being thankful and grateful, there's this calmness. And then you start to choose the channel that you want to be on for your RAS. And how you do that is couple of things. You write your life out. Write out what it is you want to be doing, how it is you want to be seeing life. What does it look like, sound like, and feel like? And I'll share you an example. And you can do this with pictures and music, because this is how our subconscious receives the information the best. And this is called imprinting. And I can tell you about a story of how, I succeeded in rugby because of Tina Turner. And Tina Turner is 1989. I saw Tina Turner singing Simply the Best to the NRL, or the Rugby League highlights package. And all I saw were these big muscly guys, and they were smashing each other over. And they were lifting trophies, and they were scoring winning tries. And she was singing, "You're simply the best, da 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 da, better than all the rest, da da." And they were, celebrating and stuff. I was captivated by that TV ad. Then my grandfather bought the CD, and we started blasting that out as we were playing out on the field next to our house, and we were playing touch, and all I could hear was just "simply the best, da 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 da." And I'd be scoring the winning try. And we would play that CD, my brother and I, as we went to sleep. And Simply the Best was track number 2. And so the first song would go on, and be lying there trying to go to bed, or waiting to go to bed. It's dark, and get to number 2, get to track number 2. And when Simply the Best started up, we're lying in bed, hearing the song on the CD player. And as she's singing, we're visualizing that ad. We're visualizing all these muscly guys running through, busting tackles, scoring winning tries, lifting trophies. And I'd play that song over and over again. I would think of those images over and over again. And even up until, stop playing rugby, really. Before every game, I'd play that song. At college, I'd play that song. And when things weren't going right, I'd play that song, and it would give me this energy. And you think about the words. You're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. You're better than anyone. Powerful words, right? And so I just always had this picture that I was going to make it. And so you need to do the same. To change your story into the one that you want, we've got to do this daily and nightly even. Because it's called imprinting. It's like a barcode, stamping on your subconscious. And if you read a bit around the subconscious, that's where everything happens. That's how we get whatever we want. It starts with the subconscious. And so it changes our belief and our story or our movie. So remembering in the earlier modules, we have an event, we have a thought, an emotion, and a response to that event that creates a belief. Okay, remember there's sugar, or there's this white thing up there that my mum's using. I might give it a go as the thought. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm excited. Response, grab it, eat it. Sugar. My belief, my story is that white thing is yum. Okay? And now as we get older in life, our belief and our story automatically run our thoughts, emotions, and response. Okay? And so my belief was that I was a victim. My belief and story and movie was that I was a hero and I would only listen to myself. And the consequence of that, well, as you see, we missed out on some opportunities, and we haven't really reached our potential because of that. So, get down, write out your story or your movie, and if you need to, start changing your story or movie to start getting the results the evening. Check it out.